It's been a while, but I'm back with another Versus video, and today I have a clash of two absolute giants within manga and anime. Today, we'll dive into the worlds of Dragon Ball Z and Hunter x Hunter through the chairman election arc. Both of these series have captivated fans all around the world, delivering unforgettable moments, mind-boggling abilities, and a roller coaster of emotions. And although I'm a huge fan of both, one is better than the other. So like I did with my other Versus videos, I think it is best for me to compare the two series with 5 different metrics: the main cast, the antagonist, the pacing, the power system, and I'll leave the most important category for last. So now that we've got that out of the way, join me as I do my best to compare the legendary journeys of Hunter x Hunter and Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z's main cast is well known by most anime fans. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Trunks, Piccolo, they are all widely recognized characters. And frankly, these 5 are used adequately through most of Dragon Ball Z. But Dragon Ball Z's main cast stretches further than just these 5. Characters like Krillin, Tien, Yamcha, and Chaozu were staples in the Dragon Ball series in the early parts of Dragon Ball Z, but they all became afterthoughts by the time Cell arrived. I understand that the villains the Z fighters went against were far out of their league, but I think it is Toriyama's responsibility to write the story in a way where important characters can stay relevant even when they can't go head to head with the main antagonist. Conversely, Hunter x Hunter does not have an iconic group for its main cast, at least not for the majority of the series. I would think most people see the main cast being Gon, Killua, Kurapika, and Leorio, but after York New City, we really don't see Kurapika again for the rest of the series, and the same can be said for Leorio. I mean, he is important in the chairman election arc, but it's such a tone shift from the Chimera Ant arc, I almost forget that it happens sometimes. I mean, the election itself seemed like a secondary narrative in that arc. Trying to heal Gon and managing Alaka definitely seemed like a more crucial part of the story. So because of the screen time with Kurapika and Leorio, I only see Hunter x Hunter having a main cast of 2 characters, Gon and Killua, but I could also say Killua and Gon. Unlike Dragon Ball Z, I think Hunter x Hunter has 2 main characters. Vegeta is one of the best deuteragonists in all of anime or manga that I've had the opportunity to experience. I also like Sasuke, Roy, and Bakugo as deuteragonists. I think they are all a crucial piece of their respective stories, and you could argue that they actually undergo the most development, but I can't put Killua in the same category as them. As much as Gon's story was highlighted, Killua's was as well. So although I prefer Gon and Killua as characters over any 2 characters from Dragon Ball Z has at least 5 characters who are significant figures for a good portion of the story. So I have to give the main cast category to Dragon Ball Z. I gotta be honest, this one isn't particularly close for me. From Nappa to Vegeta to the Ginyu Force, Frieza, the androids, Cell, Vegeta again, I think all of them served as great antagonists in Dragon Ball Z. Just based on the sheer number of these characters that I enjoy, Dragon Ball wins this category, but that does not mean Hunter x Hunter just sucks with their antagonists. But who would we consider the main antagonist of the Hunter exams? Illumi? I mean, everything about him is ominous, but I don't think he served as a main antagonist at any point. Hisoka is one of the 5 most iconic characters in Hunter x Hunter, but through the chairman election arc, he does not have any moments that make him worthy of being such a big character. Maybe I shouldn't say it like that. It's just that I believe most of his popularity has come from his eccentric style and his very interesting attraction towards powerful individuals. But in York New City, Chrollo was made out to be the final antagonist for Gon and Killua to defeat, but that didn't happen. And even in the Chimera Ant arc, Gon never interacts with Meruem, even though it was obvious he was the main antagonist of that arc. Not saying that Gon needed to though, he had his own beef that arc. But on that topic, I do have to say that although I think Dragon Ball Z wins this category easily, there is no better antagonist in Dragon Ball Z than Meruem. I could make an entire video about why I think Meruem is the best written antagonist I've ever seen, but we'll leave that for another time. To sum this section up, I think Hunter x Hunter peaked higher with its antagonist, but Dragon Ball Z delivered better antagonists on a much more consistent basis. Alright, one of the biggest problems with anime in my opinion is pacing. Manga, not so much, but the reason I use anime for this section is because I'm using the 2011 version of Hunter x Hunter as my stopping point. I've watched and read through the chairman election arc, haven't gotten around to the Dark Continent yet. Dragon Ball Z's pacing is good for the most part. Reading it is completely based on the individual, but in watching the anime, there aren't many times where I feel like the story is dragging. It was not until I watched Kai that I realized just how much filler was in the anime, and it is very apparent in the first 2 arcs. But Hunter x Hunter has Greed Island, and man, I know some people enjoy it, but I can't stand it. That arc overstayed its welcome, and it's so jarring for me because it's dead in the middle of two of my favorite arcs in any shonen ever. Hunter x Hunter's manga through the chairman election arc and Dragon Ball Z's manga have nearly the same number of chapters, but Dragon Ball Z's anime is nearly twice as long as Hunter x Hunter's. But I do also want to mention that even though Dragon Ball Z was slower more often than Hunter x Hunter, the big moments in the story did hit a little harder because the wait was longer, but that may just be a me thing. All in all, I give the pacing category to Hunter x Hunter. And now for the section I've been waiting to get to, the power systems. Dragon Ball Z is pretty straightforward. 95% of the time, the fighter with the higher power level will win the battle, unless you have a situation like Trunks or Cell where getting too strong meant the loss of speed. Although numerical values for power levels weren't used after Namek, the concept of a power level as a measurement of strength remained. Characters in Dragon Ball Z also have the ability to project energy from their hands as a projectile, and some characters use their ki to make unique weapons like the Destructo Disc, Vegito's Spirit Sword, Gotenks' Galactic Donuts, and so on. Characters also have the ability to control this energy even after it leaves their personal space, but this isn't seen very often. Outside of ki attacks, most characters in Dragon Ball Z battle with their hands and feet, as the franchise was originally centered around martial arts. Not a bad way for characters to battle, but after decades of having the same system, it has gotten a little stale. But with Hunter x Hunter, it's not even close. Nin is the power system in Hunter x Hunter, and before I break it down, I really enjoyed the way it was introduced. In the Hunter exams, it was obvious that certain people had abilities Gon not only did not have access to, but he also didn't understand. But at Heaven's Arena, Gon and Killua learn about Nin, the power that the most formidable opponents in the Hunter x Hunter world use. And I'm gonna do my best to break this system down without going into too much detail because that's literally an entire video on its own. So, everyone in the Hunter x Hunter world is born with the ability to be a Nin user, but only certain people have the ability to manipulate their aura. There are 6 different aura types. An enhancer is a Nin user that has the ability to strengthen themselves or an object. They are said to be determined people who usually never lie and are straightforward in almost all aspects of their life. The most well-known enhancer is Gon. A transmuter is a Nin user that has the ability to change the quality of their aura to match something else. Transmuters are known to be deceitful and many are known to be quote-unquote weirdos. They rarely reveal their true intentions and their techniques mimic their unpredictable personalities. The most well-known transmuters are Killua and Hisoka. An emitter is a Nin user that has the ability to detach their aura from their body. An emitter is usually impatient and not too focused on being precise. Most Nin abilities of an emitter are long-ranged aura attacks. The most well-known emitter is Leorio. A conjurer is a Nin user that has the ability to create objects from their aura, and the most well-known conjurer is Kurapika. A manipulator is a Nin user that has the ability to control living things or inanimate objects. A more well-known manipulator would be Justin Bieber from the Spiders. And the last Nin type is Specialist, and it is literally defined as having the ability to do things that don't belong in any of the 5 Nin types. Now, for a Nin user to truly understand their abilities, they have to learn the 4 major principles: Rin, Ten, Zetsu, and Hatsu. But there are also advanced Nin techniques, which are Gyo, In, Shu, Ko, Kin, and Ryu. Now I could go on and on about why I love this system and how each person has to make their own rules for an ability and how the stronger the ability, the more strict and dangerous the rule has to be. But frankly, if you want to really find out just how crazy Nin can get, do some research on Kurapika and Emperor Time. I feel like this goes without saying, but power system goes to Hunter x Hunter. Now the last category is the most important. Aesthetically, Hunter x Hunter 2011 beats Dragon Ball Z pretty easily, whereas the 1999 version in the manga falls short to Dragon Ball Z, so I didn't want to make that a category of its own. But what's the most important part of a story? The plot. Now Dragon Ball Z's first 2 arcs are almost perfect to me. The Saiyan and Frieza arcs each have their own individual plots, but the Saiyan arc transitions so seamlessly into the Frieza arc that I most times consider them to just be one big saga. Once the Z Fighters get back to Earth, that story is kinda over and the second big saga starts for Dragon Ball Z. Not as great as the first, but still good by my standards. When Buu is introduced, the story takes a nosedive, but Hunter x Hunter has one of those as well. Gohan's personal character arc is also great, not as special as Meruem's, but still pretty good. And for Hunter x Hunter, the first 3 arcs flow so well with each other, but I don't think it's as good as the first 2 arcs of Dragon Ball Z, but the Chimera Ants arc. Explosion. See, I always have a hard time choosing between these two stories. Dragon Ball Z has the great, the good, and the disappointing, whereas Hunter x Hunter has the good, the disappointing, and the unbelievable. If I were to just throw an arbitrary number that means good, let's say 7. I think Dragon Ball Z was a 7 more often than Hunter x Hunter, and Dragon Ball Z may have been a 9 or a 10 for a short period of time. But for me, Hunter x Hunter was a surefire 10 for an entire arc. So do I choose consistency or do I choose peak? For other categories in this video, I've made the choice to put consistency over peak. But man, the Chimera Ants. But to choose Hunter x Hunter now would contradict some of my earlier statements, so I do have to pick Dragon Ball Z for the plot, and as a result, Dragon Ball Z wins this versus 3-2. But I just want to say that I do like Hunter x Hunter more than Dragon Ball Z at this stage in my life, but as a whole, I guess Dragon Ball Z is better. Both of these stories from these legendary writers and artists are two of my favorites, not just in manga or anime, but all of fiction, and I never see myself getting to a point where I'll say otherwise. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Between these two legendary stories, let me know which one you think is better. Do you like that I picked Dragon Ball Z? And if not, let me know why. But with that being said, if you enjoyed this video or any of the other ones you've seen on my channel, please leave a like and subscribe. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers and everyone counts. This is BigTune and thanks for watching. Y'all have a good one.